Well, hello, everybody. I am trying a brand new headset, so I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Can everybody hear me okay? Is anybody not hearing me?
I can hear
I
you.
hear you.
Oh, awesome. Awesome, awesome. All right. So excited to have you here. Let me go ahead and mute. We got a little background noise there. So today, September 22nd, it is, well, 2021, in case anybody sees this way in the future. So wherever you are today, oh my goodness, we just moved through the winter solstice for us up here, and our friends in the southern hemisphere. I know our friends in South Africa, they're going into the spring solstice, and how exciting. Oh my gosh, it's really exciting time. That matches so perfectly with what we're going to read today in the Course in Miracles, because we have to understand that we are in the midst of a new beginning. We are truly, truly in the midst of the great awakening, where everything that we thought we knew is literally crumbling and is going to disappear from our perception, because as it crumbles, those of us who are able to look at it, have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, are recognizing that what is crumbling is what the ego has made. And it is the source of everything that is dark, everything that has to do with density, that has to do with greed, with selfishness, everything that has activated our fears, our judgments, our shame, our blame, our guilt, all of that is going away. And it has to go away from our consciousness, because we are going to be shifting to a consciousness that is going to bring forth to us truth. And when we operate from truth, we realize that we get to operate and create with love, kindness, compassion, collaboration, co-creation, all of the wonderful things that are possible in alignment with God's purpose for us, that we be happy. Those will be created when we make the decision to shift and lift our consciousness. Now, the only people that are going to be able to see that this is only created by our conscious choice not to pay attention to this, in terms of looking at it in thinking it has power over you. This is the work of undoing our ego. You cannot look at the outside and be afraid of it, because if you're afraid of it, you're looking through the lens of the ego. You don't have the eyes to see. You're focusing on what you are seeing outside as being separate from you, not your projected creation. And if you think this is real and it has its own source of power that is independent of you, you don't know how powerful you are to create this. So we are going to be talking as we continue in lesson 153, and if somebody can write it in the chat, we are in lesson 153, and the title of it is "In My Defenselessness, My Safety Lies." So to be able to understand why there is no need to defend ourselves, no need whatsoever to defend what we know is true for us. Now, while we're in the world, we are going to do things that might appear like defense. Like, for example, you may put a security system on your house. You may have a gun. You may have a dog. You may have, you may choose to live in a place that has a security guard. It appears in this world that we are doing things to defend ourselves. If you know that what you are defending yourself from, you project it out there so you could have the gift of something reflecting back to you what you believe. If you know that that's what it's doing, letting you know what you believe, then you have the eyes to see that with the recognition that it is simply there as a mirror of what's in your consciousness. Now the world is not something separate from you, it is something you projected. And for us to be able to take our power back from what is out there, we cannot have an ego. We cannot be looking through the eyes of the ego, which is why on Saturday I've got the workshop and I still have space. If somebody wants to join us, please go to my website and register as soon as possible so that you can get the emails that will send you the information that I'm sending to those who've already registered with things to prepare for the class. But anyhow, that one-day workshop is about helping you really get that there's nothing outside of you. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to walk out of there and totally realize that nothing out there is projected, but you're going to have to be honest with yourself. Because if you know that there's nothing outside of you and you're looking at it as if it's real, you have to practice honesty. And in honesty, say, in this moment, I really am not owning how powerful I am. I am not accepting the God force, power, whatever you want to call it, that is inside of me. If you are not accepting the power of God to create that is inside of you, you do not understand the ego. And this to me is the most important thing that I can possibly teach anybody. This is what I am very clear is my purpose now. It has become abundantly obvious to me that I am here to teach the least sexy thing about spirituality. It is not my job to teach you how to meditate, to teach you how to feel good and go to La La Land and just chant and have your, life be on a nice little cushion lily pad and chanting all day. I don't get to teach you that. It's not my job to teach you that God loves you. That's not my job. My job is to teach you how powerful you are, and you use that power against yourself. I get to teach the unsexy part of spirituality, which is you got to know your ego. If you do not understand your ego, you do not understand your mind is running your life, you are not in control of your mind. And let me tell you, from personal experience, this is not an easy thing to do. It is not an easy thing to do. However, it is a very simple thing to do. Transcending the ego, as the Course tells us, is nothing but a shift in perception. And a shift in perception is something that we need to understand. What is it that we're shifting and lifting into? For a long time, humanity that enters into an awareness that we are loving beings, we go into the realm of the light, we get spiritual, we want to just connect with God and do all the beautiful things. However, we deny the darkness that is in the world because this is part of what the world has done. The controllers, those who operate in the density of their ego, that operate at the level of evilness, they know that if we believe in God and love and light, and we are in law of attraction, this is all we want. They know, because this is the way the mind works. They understand the way the mind works. They don't understand the way love works, because they're not, if they did, they would operate from love. But those who are seeking the light, because, oh my gosh, they are just all love and light, they are deliberately allowed to chase the light, to seek that which is light, all the while denying the darkness through simple little things like teaching. And I am not knocking any of these things by any means, because I used all of these tools and I used them until I found the Course in Miracles and understood the way the ego tricks us. And once I understood the way the ego tricks us, which is really what I'm going to focus on Saturday, I was able to break down exactly the insidious ways that my ego operated. And that is not a fun process, because you have to look at quite a few things. Number one, you've got to accept that you allowed yourself to be deceived. You cannot blame somebody out there for deceiving you. You just have to see how you were deceived. Then you've got to accept that you deceived yourself by thinking they deceived you. It's a really convoluted mess, but I'm going to break it down so it's so simple to understand. And here's the thing. This is only possible because at a soul level, and this is what the ego doesn't want us to understand. At a soul level, we are the light. We come in as the light, but we come in deliberately playing the game of going into the darkness. Hide and seek. That's all that it is. We come into hiding and then we begin to seek the light. But those who understand the game that we're seeking the light make it really clear to us through techniques like, cancel that thought. You have a fearful thought. Oh, just cancel it. You have a negative thought. Oh, no, cancel it. Don't pay attention to the negative thought. Write the list of affirmations of everything you want to create. At some point, those who've been doing that for a long time realize, oh my goodness, I keep canceling my negative thoughts. I keep creating my affirmations. I keep writing my scripting and I affirm, but it's not coming. Well, it's not coming because there is so much darkness in our consciousness that this overrides just about anything you want good to happen to you, because in your subconscious mind is all of the power of creation, because the subconscious mind is running about 95% of our lives. Do you realize that your digestion system runs without your conscious awareness? That your I'm not a biology person, whatever, physiology. I don't understand all those things. So the terms don't come readily, but circulation happens and you don't think about it. The breathing is happening. Every single time you take a breath, that oxygen goes through an incredible process. Laina, I'm sure you can explain this to us way, way better. But the blood that is in your body is doing amazing gyrations. Every single glass of water that you drink, that water goes through your system. There's a process of purification. The kidneys are involved. The body has every single organ, everything in your body has a very deliberate function. All of that is happening below your conscious awareness. So it is happening underneath the surface of what you are deliberately thinking. This is why you're not affirming, oh yes, I'm affirming that my body is functioning well, unless your body is not functioning well. When you are having issues, then you want to go ahead and change it and correct it and affirm something better happen. Well, we're coming to the time when the game is changing and you don't need to affirm to correct something. You will be totally, completely living from your healthy whole self. And to get to your healthy whole self, you've got to look at your unhealthy, broken self. Now, you're not unhealthy and broken. Your ego holds all of the thoughts that create a sensation, a feeling of being broken, of not being whole. That densification manifests physically in the body. So whenever we're looking at what is sick inside of us, the training of the 3D world is to go look at the body. The training of the Course in Miracles is to look at your mind. That sickness starts in a mind that doesn't know that you are pure well-being. Now, we have to forgive ourselves for having forgotten the power that we've had all along. That lifetime after lifetime, we keep incarnating at this level. But that's because we're playing hide and seek. We're hiding. And we are hiding for a reason. We're hiding so we can experience what it's like to not be what we are. I know it sounds crazy, but think about it. On Halloween, don't you dress up to experience what it's like to be a witch? Don't you dress up to experience what it's like to be a, Teletubby? My kids did, or maybe I dressed them up that way because I wanted to experience what they were like as Teletubby. Maybe they didn't want that, but it's what Mama got them. in my controlling unconscious ways. So when we dress up, we are pretending to be what we're not. No different. And here we are, almost in October. We're moving towards Halloween. How many of us are going to get excited to go to costume ball? Because for one day, we get to be what we're not. Well, hell, for how many decades have we been playing what we're not? It's the same freaking thing. When you understand that this is a choice to coming into density, then the work is to see all of the ways we densify ourselves, create an ego, and then we work with the ego. We look at the thoughts and the beliefs that have us stay in density, and we have to face them with honesty and courage, because the beliefs that we hold are designed, the ego is designed, there is a mechanism that is designed to make us fear hearing the truth that sets us free. And the reason we fear the truth that sets us free, and you all are evidencing, right now, you're seeing it out in the world, how many people you send factual information and they don't want to see it. And then they attack you, they judge you. That is the ego in action. It's not that they don't want to know the truth, it's that their ego is preventing them from knowing the truth, because the truth sets us free. And the ego doesn't feed off of light. It feeds off of darkness. It sucks the light in a very dark way. It takes what is pure, what is innocent, what is loving, and literally sucks it in a very negative way, draining humanity from its vitality. So we have got to understand that the ego has many tricks up its sleeve. And if you don't understand those tricks, you're playing the game with blindfolds on. You're playing the game, pin the tail on the donkey, and you end up pinning the tail on the head. So we've got to get the rules of the game straight, and the game is only possible. This game on planet Earth is only possible because we have the opportunity to cultivate an ego. It's not a bad thing. It's a necessary aspect of forgetting that we are the light, so that we can think that all we are is just Laina, it's just Vern, it's just Laina, to play this role and really play it full out, like an actor plays a character in a movie. You can't get on the set and go, yeah, I'm playing Laina, but I'm actually a soul. And, I don't need to put up with the stuff that's happening to me because I'm actually a soul. The movie would not be fun if you sit and the actors in the beginning of the movie says, I'm Jim Carrey. So when I kill this person, it's not really a murder scene. It's Jim playing the murder scene. That would not be fun to watch a movie where the character is always telling us I'm not the character. Does that make sense? Am I saying something that hopefully is making sense? Because if this doesn't make sense, then what we're about to read may not make so much sense. Does this make sense to you, Laina? So many of you guys have pictures on.
It makes sense.
Perfect.
My brain is still processing it.
Good. And Christo, thank you for letting me know. Does this make sense to you, Kat? You can just shake your head if you want. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So with that said, let me open this up with just one more quick reminder. If you're going to come to the Saturday in-depth look at the ego, please register today. Just go to my website. You'll be able to see where to register. And the buttons are a lot easier to see now. Thanks, Vern, for letting me know. It wasn't so clear, so we made it more clear. But anyhow, in that workshop, we're going to look at the tricks of the ego. So, all right, now, let me hear from any of you. How have you been applying what we've been studying in the Course in Miracles thus far, before we get into lesson 153 in my defenselessness, my safety lies, which we're going to pick up on paragraph number 12. Yes, Kat.
Well, I just wanted the update from last week. I wanted to let y'all know what my choice was. And my choice was to not give her my power, to just basically that's it. Just not to give her my power, because I felt like if I try to put energy into that, it just didn't make any sense to me. It was nonsensical. So that's what I decided.
I love that. You know, when we see the nonsensical way that the ego plays this game, once we have the clarity of the nonsense, we begin to play with clarity and it makes sense. So it is a total shift and a lift in frequency because the ego is playing a nonsensical game. And when you don't feed that illusion that you are nonsensical, which your soul is not, you're just playing the role of that, you just put down that costume. And now you want to play the game with common sense, where you can see what's happening, compassion for the one who is playing nonsense. So you look at them and now you can have compassion because they are calling for love. They need us to help them see the nonsense by bringing common sense to it. And sometimes common sense is, okay, you're doing that, I'm not playing the game. And that's fine. And that's fine because in our awareness of what is happening with discernment, then we practice tolerance. And remember, in the mastery class, the characteristic of tolerance is no judgment. To tolerate is not, in the Course in Miracles, is not the tolerance of the world. Oh, I'm going to tolerate, put up with your nonsense. It's a totally different tolerance. It's a tolerance of the nonsense because you acknowledge it's a holy being playing the role of nonsensical character of a neighbor who is, you know, Mrs. Kravitz. And you let her be that while you play a different game to illuminate a path for her to find her way to the light. Because we are here to help each other find the way to the light. And we do that when we embody the light and shine it. So thank you so much for that update. I love it.
Can I
All
share?
right.
Could I say one more thing?
Absolutely. And then we'll go to Jody.
Okay. Hey, Jody. Not just that, but just a lot of things have been happening, and a lot of fearful information. And I so thank you for that. The latest thing you just sent out, I watched it, and the ending was so powerful.
Yeah.
That was a very long but powerful video. In fact, I want to read it again. So where is that? I mean, is that on your?
Actually, I'm going. Yes, I sent it to you individually in Messenger. I sent it to a bunch of people individually in Messenger, but I'm going to put it in the text message. I just didn't want to add that to the text message today because I was going to be sending this link, so I didn't want to crowd it. But I'm going to send it to everybody today because it's a beautiful, beautiful video. It is long. It's over 2 hours. However, it is worth every second. My daughter watched it, got so many ahas, saw the scary things, and also got to the end and went, oh, Mom, this is exactly what you've been saying. There is a movement towards correcting the insanity. And that's what I want us to focus. There are a lot of light workers who are correcting the insanity. And our work is to, number one, be supporting them. Find these people, send them money if you feel inspired, volunteer if you feel inspired, share their message if you feel inspired, and then connect with the holy essence of who we are. Go inside and ask God, what would you have me do? Because we're here to play roles, but the roles cannot come from our ego who wants us to react to things. And that's what I'm doing with all of my clients, all of my students, all of you, my daughter, my family, is to help each and every person see that there are two ways of looking at what's happening. One is powerful to take you to the light. One is powerful to keep you stuck in the energy of density. So yes, thanks.
Further on that, what I was going to share was I went into a dark place. For me, a dark place. I mean,
Mm.
for anybody, because I was stepping into anxiety and fear. And I meditating and praying, and it's in the pit of my stomach. Couldn't get rid of it. I was like, what? And I know the right thing. So that video you said really did help me with that.
Good.
And so I'm feeling much better. It's just this crazy, the craziness is just
Yeah.
been a lot.
It's there to inform us. And I just put it in the chat group so everybody can grab the link from there. I put it in the chat group if you want to. Okay, Vern, yes, I'll email that to you. Actually, let me do it right now, or I might forget later on. So it's, okay. It's a beautifully done video, and it's a gift. These people did it. It's a gift from the heart. It's even hard to see who created it. You got to stop at the end to find out, because it's a gift of love. It is truly a gift of love, a gift of, it's no different than these classes. There are so many people who want to help whoever is ready to awaken, because we want playmates to play the new game. And the new game up here, you cannot come here if you have ego, if you have fears, if you have doubt, if you have judgment. You cannot. The frequency is too far. This is like being stuck in quicksand. Nobody who has an ego can get out of the quicksand without seeing the ego and understanding how to transcend, how to get out of the quicksand. Then you can play in that high frequency steadily, consistently. Now we bounce up and down, but the quicksand pulls us down. So thank you so much for that, Kat. Yes, Miss Jody.
Hi, I excuse my appearance. I just decided.
No worries.
Okay. Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just letting you know, my ego told me, you're not put together. You shouldn't get on Zoom. And I'm just telling my ego to fuck off. I don't care. So here's the, I don't remember, because my brain from moment to moment loses thoughts, but I know that when you were sharing, started to share, I didn't get on till I guess 12:09, but when you started sharing, oh, there's some weird back noise. What's that?
So let me see who's got, hold on a second. Let me mute everybody else.
Sorry, it's hard to hear myself. Yeah, so you were talking about.
Oh, Kathleen, excuse me, Jody. Kathleen, let's make sure we keep you muted, because the background was coming from there. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Jody.
So what I wanted to say, I just want to collect my thought, because I was very present with it after your share. You were talking about the costume and having compassion for the people that are in dense in an ego and in reaction. And, and I'm really, I guess, being tested with this right now, because, as I'm on two levels, as I'm becoming more and more aware of the lies and the darkness, it's very important for me not to go dense and to meet people at that level. And so you probably saw on your wall the other day, I kind of reacted to somebody, and I realized, and I said, oh, I should probably erase that. And I didn't, but it's just finding that balance of just not balance, but the awareness to pull out of the matrix. And I can't be of service when I'm reacting. And even if it's almost like a spiritualized ego, because I'm like, well, this is what's happening, and these are the facts. And really, my ego wants to be right, even if they are true, even if it is true. And I'm noticing that that brings down my level of resonance and peace, and I can't, it doesn't serve me or anybody. And so where it's really come to light is that, I live, and some of you may know, I live in a duplex and I live above my ex-husband, and we're partners in a wonderful business. There's a few of us now. And he verbally, so it's interesting that the next thing you're going to talk about is I think you said my safety lies in my defensiveness, right? So it was fascinating because he was talking about something and personal, and I said something, and he verbally, what people would see as attacked me. And my ego felt hurt on the inside, but I didn't react. So it's interesting because I see it on a more of a global level where my ego is, well, and then I'll pull back. And at about 90% of the time, I don't correct what I see as correct people or have to be right about something. But I know that that was a call for love. And my 3D friends, I'll just call my 3D friends, would say, that's crazy. You shouldn't be in business with him, blah, 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 blah. And really, I just was compassionate and got out of the role, my costume being the victim bully role, whatever, many of it. But so, and the other thing I want to say, when you first started talking, or when I joined in, there was just a level of peace. Oh yeah, I'm wearing a costume, and actually everything's happening perfectly. And you've said it before, everything's just energy. So, the people with the agendas and wanting to do the shots, and then the people fighting them, it's just a flow. It's like a flow. And like, I can just pull myself out of it and see where I can serve. So thank you. I don't know if that all landed, but that's kind of what's going on here.
Well, thank you for that wonderful share. And a couple of things that I want to say about that. When we look at everybody as an actor playing a role for us, a 3D role, a 5D role, and in the middle role, we got to think about them as how we would treat characters on a movie. When somebody does something on the movie screen that we don't like, we don't go up to the screen and say, stop that. We don't hit the screen. We don't bang them. We don't bang the TV. We don't tell, in Netflix, we don't go choke those people and say, what are you doing, stupid idiot? We don't do that because we know they're acting. Until you get it in your beingness that everybody is acting a part for you, and you see them as an actor, you cannot, you're not here. And that's part of the honesty that is so important, because here, there's no reaction like there is here. Here, so react. Let's look at the word react. I want you to understand. React. When we react, I don't know if you guys can see that. And then we're going to go to Jen, and after Jen, Latanya. So if you look at the word react, to react is to reenact. To reenact, you are replaying, you're doing the same act over and over and over again, doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Because the ego has memories of what it did, and they're all childhood memories. That's why, we're going to break down at what ages did you pick up some of your most debilitating beliefs. And we're not going to do all of the beliefs that we have in our head, but we'll do enough on Saturday, at least one or two. So you see, it's always the same process. So the reacting to anything that is happening is actually keeping us in the loop. When you move beyond that and you raise your frequency and you respond, when you respond, you're looking at what is, and you are bringing to it a whole new perspective. You are in a space of total and complete clarity because now you have access to source. Please give me something new. This is the source of infinite possibilities. Give me something new. I'm tired of the old. I don't want to repeat. I want something new. And so I wanted to say, kind of give that little bit of a tip. The other thing is our 3D friends, they like misery loves company. So they are going to have to stay inside of that frequency. And when we come out, they're going to be very upset with us because we're unplugging from their sustenance. You know, the ego feeds off of low frequency. And when you're not low frequency, you cease to be food for your friends' egos. So you've got to get clear about, do you want to bring light or do you want to feed egos? I mean, that's it. When you bring love and light, you are feeding the soul, you're expanding the soul. When you're coming in with your ego, reenacting, repeating the same old crap, you're literally feeding off of your bottom feeder because you're operating down here, and we're all literally just being nothing more than leeches, leeching off of each other's energy. Here, we are igniting and expanding each other's energy because light begets more light just as much as ego begets more ego. So we have to make that choice. You can only do that if you're consciously aware of the subconscious patterns. So we got to make what is subconscious conscious, bring it up to our conscious awareness, which is, again, what we're going to play with one or two of our beliefs so that we can unpack those beliefs because they have such amazing power in our lives. And that is absolutely wonderful. So Jody, I want to give you a little tip, and this is for everybody. So next time we go somewhere and we don't look the part, you know, our face is not on or whatever, it's one thing to acknowledge because we want to be honest. Oh, my ego had me not want to come or not show my face. That's important. That's an important first step, and do it with people that, you know, do it in public. So you state that. But the next more advanced level is to don't even pay attention to, you don't even have to talk about it. Because at that point, it had no power over you. While we are talking about it, we are pulling our power from it. When there's no need to announce what we just did with our ego has no power over us. So just keep that in mind, because it's a fine line between being honest and speaking it out. And it's another one, because that's the ego likes to be, the ego likes to show how much we have advanced. But when we're operating from our soul, there's no show and tell there. There's no need for that. So I just want you to move to that next level. So
I have a quick question.
Jen. Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm
Sure,
sorry,
sure.
I have one quick follow-up question. The behind your head, you have react and respond. So when I was telling you about my ex-husband, I responded, but internally, so it's not what I said, but internally, I still had a little bit of upset. So I can see where I'm moving up.
Exactly. Until you see both sides active at the same time, you really haven't grounded yourself in what's possible with your soul. You have to see both.
So I was
Because-
seeing both, but I still felt the resonance of it,
And we're going to feel what the ego does, because the ego activates. Let me see, where's all this background noise coming from? I'm going to mute you, Jody. So we've got to get clear that there will be a time that we're going to be straddling. We're going to have a foot on both sides of the bridge. And while we have a foot on both sides of the bridge, the ego is the one that activates energy, intensity, emotions, energy that needs to be placed in motion. When we are not looking at it through the eyes of our soul, that energy is either suppressed and makes us depressed, or we express it in a negative way. We dump it on somebody else. You know, we lash out, we tell you the truth. When our soul is present, our soul observes the part of us that has activity, and it just simply lovingly witnesses that activity. And that activity, that energy then dissipates on its own because it has been seen by the light. So think about it this way. You walk into a dark room. There is darkness in the room. That's those dark energies, the negative energy. You turn on the light. What happens to the darkness? It dissipates. So we have to learn to bring our conscious self into conscious awareness that the first place we must extend the love and the light is to our unconscious self. All that has been subconscious, we are bringing it up and saying, oh, wow, there's my shit. There's my ugliness. There's my judgment. There's my angry self. There's my, there's the self that cheated. There's the self that lied. There's the self that had the affair. There's the self that, did something. There's the self that murdered somebody. We have to bring that up. That's why so many people in jail have amazing experiences, because they are there with what they've done. And then they learn, they can't escape, they're stuck in jail. So they're facing what they've done. Now they have somebody who comes in and teaches them, it's okay, just be with what you did. And once you're with what you did without judging what you did, the part of you that has the shame and the guilt and the anger and the blame begins to dissipate, because the light gets turned on and the darkness goes away. We don't have to get rid of the darkness. We just have to turn the light on it and just lovingly acknowledge, oh, I played the role of murderer. Oh, I played the role of judgmental. I played the role of having an affair. I played the role of whatever. When you can be with you and acknowledge all of the roles that you played and they were not that nice, I know I got lots of them. But oh my God, it made my life so fun and so exciting. All those roles, those crazy roles that I played, I wish I'd have played a few more crazy ones. I mean, it would have made it even more exciting, but I kind of played mostly, being the good girl role. So I missed out on a lot of my life story. Is not going to be a blockbuster movie because it's not exciting. What's exciting is that I got out of the story. So I'll write my book only about getting out of the story, not what I did. So thank you for that share, but being conscious of what is unconscious in us. Subconscious is below our awareness, is a powerful, important step, and we cannot escape that step. Otherwise, well, actually, that's what most spiritual people do, spiritual seekers. And it's not just spiritual people. It can be Buddhist people. It can be Hindu people. It can be Muslim or Christians or mystics. When you're seeking the light, you are denying that it is in you. So you can't turn it on your darkness and look at the darkness. You just want more light, because there's the ego knows if you were to sit and unpack your ugliness, it loses its power and it feeds off of the darkness. So anyhow, lots of great questions. Jen, let's go to you and then we'll go to Latanya. And then Kathleen, you said you wanted to share something. Jen, go ahead and unmute yourself, sweetie.
I don't know if it'll let me. Hang on one second.
Yeah. I can hear you.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I'll make it quick. I just wanted to share something I was journaling about this morning, and it is the concept that no human being can act beyond their level of consciousness. And I had a huge awareness today that I get sideways with people when I have the unrealistic expectation that they can. And so this was kind of a big aha for me, that I don't get into a lot of conflict with people, but when I do, I think it always comes back to this, my forgetting that truth, and that I can be more tolerant of where they are and trust in my truth without trying to change the person when I understand that they're operating at their level, and there's many levels of consciousness, and we may not be at the same one, and that's really a lot of where it's emanating from, and I just have to sit back and be patient.
Exactly. These are levels of consciousness that are like grades in school. You cannot expect a second grader to know what's happening in master, in the PhD program. So yes, so that's a beautiful and perfect awareness, which translates to why all of us on this journey, we are listening. We are fed by teachers who are at least one step ahead of us. Obviously, teachers who are too many steps ahead of us, it's like so many people come to the Course in Miracles, they open it up and go, oh my God, I can't, and they put it down. Or read it all without really receiving what it means, because there's not that readiness. So we will all have teachers that we resonate with. And when you don't resonate with a teacher anymore, because you know it doesn't feed you, it's because you actually have moved beyond their consciousness and they help you get to where you are. You know, I had a beautiful meditation teacher. She helped me get to a wonderful place in learning about meditation, but she couldn't take me beyond where she was because I was undoing ego, and she was a 3D meditation teacher. But I needed that step. That was a very important step. And the same thing with, you know, healers. A healer that makes what is happening out there real and is scaring you about that terrible stuff and don't eat that. And I can't believe they may be providing a wonderful service, and you have to discern, is that somebody you're going to talk about consciousness? Can you expect them to be peaceful about what is out there because they know they created that reality and they are literally realizing and helping you realize that what you're taking in you're taking it in because you're operating at a consciousness that is still in the world, and you're in your honesty needing that assistance because you don't yet know that you can shift your reality. Find somebody who can meet you there, that they are not making the bad stuff real. They're actually helping you play the role inside of the movie reel. And you are realizing that we're helping each other. We're helping each other. But at the point that you no longer are reacting from your ego, you're going to have a very hard time with anybody. I don't care what books they have or what movies or what stuff they've done, that still makes the outer world real. It'll be very difficult to be with those people if you are a real committed deep dive student of the Course in Miracles, because the outside cannot be changed by judging it. The outside can only be changed by loving yourself enough to no longer want to keep having that experience, because you're done with repeating, expecting a different result, which is why the Course in Miracles calls the ego insane, because it's always repeating and you can't get out of that loop until you get out of your head, observe with your heart. Anyways, all right, let's go. Thank you so much for that, Jen. Latanya, let's unmute you. There we go.
All right. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sister, I sure can. Thank you.
Okay. Hello to everyone. All this reminded me of some past relationships that I had. I was married twice. My first one, I'm very comfortable in talking about it. I'm already over. But I noticed in my second marriage that I was very unequally yoked because he was telling me that I should be angry. And I noticed at that time that, well, I didn't understand that I was dealing with ego, because my spiritual journey had started, way before I had married him in 2015. But my second husband told me that I should be angry at my first husband because of what happened to me, the things that I've gone through. And I said, well, I'm not angry. I'm done. I've forgiven, I'm way past that. So he kept, pounding on me, that I should be angry. And he was angry because I wasn't angry. And there were some things that I was noticing in that relationship that it just didn't resonate with me. And it's like, how did I get here? And I was thinking, okay, I know I was looking for love outside of myself. And he looked very charming and, he said those sweet things. But then when I got into the marriage, excessive things. And I'm like, gosh, that's too many sneakers, man. Why do you have like 50 pairs of sneakers? And it was just a lot for me. And plus, because I was on that spiritual journey, all of that never resonated with me. So, I got a divorce. And I noticed that I was growing, and learning those things. I didn't know that I was dealing with ego and trying to, let it go, was because I didn't like excessive things. I didn't like being angry. So I made sure I was, forgiving and letting it go. And my first husband, I'm great friends with. We have 3 children together, and, we can laugh and, but I understood back then that I was dealing with my ego, and well, now I do.
Yeah.
Now I do, but
Yeah.
I'm glad I went through that. I mean, it was kind of tough, but now I know that it was my ego, and I was just dealing with that, and I'm still growing, and
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Thank you. Thank you for that share. And when I married Ken, it was the same thing. He couldn't understand why I still loved my kid's dad, and he couldn't understand that. So that became something that helped me see, oh, wow, I'm at the place where I am okay loving everybody the same, because love is love is love. When you move to the place of knowing that we are all love, you love everybody the same. There cannot be specialness. My husband, then, that husband I was his special prize and possession. And if I'm loving somebody else, he's operating from lack, which means, oh, you must love me less. And it was like, no, everybody gets loved the same. The relationship, the purpose of it is different. I am not going to go live with my former husband, but I want to live with you. And there are things I don't do with that one, but I do with you. But the love is the same. It's when you come to the place of no conditions, there can be no specialness. So thank you for sharing that. Great awareness. And that whole thing about being equally yoked, that Bible says that. I used to think, what the heck is that? Equally yoked. You know what? You got to like eggs, or I thought it was what a weird thing to say. But now I get it. It's equally vibrationally matched. So thank you for that. So Kathleen, you were going to share something, and after you, we're going to go right into what's
Yes.
towards the lesson.
And thank you for allowing everybody to share, because it's so wonderful to hear. And I've been working on my journey in my path as everybody else here has. And I found not so long ago, it doesn't matter when the time is, because everything is in divine timing, but I had to get comfortable being in the not knowing what the answer was, because we've come from a culture that said, ego says, well, you got to solve this. Come on, you got to fix this. You got to, we're so steeped in the desire to control our environment. And we're living in a time when I don't know that much is in our control, except understanding the teachings that you're offering, and that somehow this is all part of a great awakening, as you called it. So once I was able to be comfortable in the not knowing, and when I need to know, I'll know. I always do. I'll know, and the perfect solution will appear. And that helped me find a lot of peace with any of my own frustrations of, why aren't you getting this? Why, I said, you know what? I don't know. I'll know when I know. And I get, the amount of daily guidance I get from the universe is, I am feeling so blessed right now to be able to study with you, because I'm advancing through my advancement to be a teacher with a lot of the same ideas you have, not your words, they're going to be my words, and it's going to amount to the same thing. But I've got people who are attracted to me now that are just coming out of, I don't know where they're coming from, but I've got people coming to me. So I know that my primary mission right now, and I think our missions can change over time, that it is to teach those who are ready to wake up. Maybe more to hearing my words might work for them. You've got a pretty advanced knowledge of Course in Miracles. And what's funny is it's something I've looked at several times over the years and dismissed. And now here I am saying, I think this is the way forward. This is the way forward for me. So I wasn't ready back then, but I am now. And I was, I became comfortable with, I don't know. I'll know when I know, and I need to know. And it starts with a circle of, first of all, trusting. We've got to find a way to trust that part of it, that we haven't exercised a whole lot in this culture, and that we are bringing to the forefront to help with the Great Awakening. So we have to trust that our heart, connected to our mind, gives us a more complete picture of where we're living, what's up on planet Earth, and doing surrender. I mean, that was the first step I had to get through, was surrendering that I don't know. And somehow all of those situations ended up perfectly. So it began a level of trust. And then there's a big element of forgiveness in there, so that you can move to helping others understand maybe better.
Thank
So thank
you.
you. That's
Thank
what
you,
helped
thank
me. I don't know, if somebody can use that concept, but I know it's really helped me in finding peace on my journey.
Thank you so much for that, sister. I so appreciate it. Yes, it's just, we all have to get to the I don't know part, which is the hardest thing, which is why the course says you can either be right or happy, but you can't be both. And unconscious people, when they tell me, oh yeah, I want to be both, I realize, oh, they don't know what this means. That's okay. Because actually people's, and when we're unconscious, our happiness comes from being right, not because it's an
Correct.
internal, peaceful, joyful happiness. So yeah,
Right.
thank you for that.
So
Thank you,
they'll
thank
come
you.
along and learn and teach whoever they teach. So
Exactly.
it's a cascading ripple effect out. I mean, there's
It
8
is.
billion people we got to talk to, right? So
Yeah.
we need as Michael Beckwith says, there are no extra people on the planet. So we all have come here with a piece of the puzzle that's ours to contribute.
Exactly. Exactly.
I can't contribute your piece because I'm not you, but I
Yeah.
can contribute my piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's hear what the Course in Miracles has to contribute to us today, so we can take this piece and put it into action. So because we've spent an hour on these conversations, I'm going to take the next 30 minutes all the way through to do the reading, and we'll just get as far as we can with what it's stating in the course. But I want to invite you next Tuesday. So on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of the month, in the evenings, we're meeting over at Smart Nutrition and Wellness, so that we can have these kinds of conversations to unpack what we're experiencing, to put things more into practice. So I do want to encourage that that you come to those, and it's only $20, whether you do it Zoom. Dr. Vern helped me last time we were there, and we got the technology figured out. So you can join us Zoom, you can join us live, but that is more, how do we apply this into our lives, where these Wednesdays are more about what is the course saying, so that you can take it and let this stuff ruminate in your mind. And then let's do the in-person gathering so that we can support each other through this journey, because there's a lot of power in coming together and doing this work and asking questions that allow us to put this stuff into or share the examples how we put into our practice. All right, so in lesson 153, in my defenselessness, my safety lies, we're going to start with paragraph number 12, because we finished with paragraph 11 last week. All right, so I may read a little quick and we'll give less explanation until I finish the whole paragraph, because I want to make sure that I leave this information in your consciousness, as much of it as possible today. So, but do not gloss over this. If you have the course, please spend some time reading it again afterwards, so that you really can receive what the course wants you to receive. All right, salvation can be thought of as a game that happy children play. And the reason it is talking about salvation here is because earlier in this paragraph, the course tells us that not only is our function to be happy, but it is also our role to save our brothers and sisters. So salvation, you need to understand, salvation is not about anything. It's not what the Bible teaches. You're not saving somebody's soul. You are saving them, sparing them is more accurate, from your judgments. You save them by you turning on your light because you spare them from your ego's darkness. So salvation can be thought of as a game that happy children play. If our purpose is to be happy, we are the children. We are the child of God. So we need to get to the place that we know the truth of who we are and play the happy game of sparing people our lower self and being able to extend the light of who we are so that they can see what it's like to be a happy child. So salvation can be thought of as a happy game that children play. It was designed by one who loves his children, by God who loves his children, and who would replace their fearful toys with joyous games, which teach them that the game of fear is over. So what are the joyful games, the toys? We have been playing with fearful toys. Those toys are rules and regulations and controls and money and love of money. That's the toy. How much can I get and accumulate and have and compete, and how am I better than somebody else? The manipulations, the lying, the cheating, the deceits, those are the toys of the ego. And they're only on this planet because we have allowed them to be here, because we made them up. God did not make money. God gave us everything for free, a planet stocked, fully stocked. And if you are playing the role that you landed on the piece of land, you know, the community that has apples, and somebody lands in the land where cows, you know, grow more easily, we traded with each other so that everybody would have all that was already abundant. Money got made up. And in and of itself, when money was first created, it was as a means through gold of exchanging pieces of gold, because it was easier to exchange gold than to carry the cow with you to exchange it with your neighbor. So you would exchange gold at the market, and then the neighbor could come over and get the cow, but you already got the gold for it. So anyhow, we need to understand the toys of the ego. And it is everything that weighs us down. It is, if you think of this as a hot air balloon, the game that we're playing, the happy game, we're going to rise up above the density of the ego. What do you have to do? You got to cut off everything that weighs you down. Like a hot air balloon, you got to drop the weight. A hot air balloon does not rise while it has the weights in it. You begin to let go of weights little by little. That's what we have attachments to. Let go of the job that weighs you down because you don't like it. Let go of a marriage that weighs you down because you're not happy in it. We're cutting the cords to old patterns from our even past lives. We're cutting the cords to being right about all of these things that have weighed us down. But to be able to cut the cord, you've got to see what scares you about that. Because if you're scared to get divorced, you got to look at what weighs you down. Oh, the beliefs that, what will people think? The idea that, oh my goodness, you know, people are going to think I'm a failure, or I'm not going to be able to have money without this husband, or if I won't be financially taken care of without this wife. You've got to look at things in great detail, because it is in the details that the ego hides itself. And we got to go into details, which is why we have got to give up, as Kathleen was saying, being right. Because when you're right, oh, people are going to judge me. You can't be in, and I don't know what this divorce is for. I don't know what's coming afterwards, because you don't know. What you do know is you're repeating what you don't want. And repeating what you don't want doesn't get you out of what you don't want. It just makes you right about what you don't want. And I hope that little tidbit makes sense. All right, so his game, God's game, instructs in happiness because there is no loser. And when we all know that we're love and light and we're creating our reality, how can anybody have less than anybody else? How can anybody lose? Because a mind that is in alignment to the frequency of joy is never going to feel that anything that gets taken away is less than joyful. The divorce. Oh, wow, you can enjoy it. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. We're getting divorced because you have found somebody else you want to be with. I am happy for you. That just means that I don't know what may be coming for me. I'll miss you because I was, really enjoying our company. But if you don't enjoy mine, I don't want you to be here. I want you to go find somebody you enjoy being with. That way, I have the space created for one who will enjoy being with me, because that is how we are going to be creating in the fifth dimension. We are going to be creating through the joy of everything that moves out of our life, is opening up space for something new, not taking something from us. The mindset of the ego is about lack. There's not enough. I got to hoard it. I got to get mine. That's why we have the haves and the have-nots, the 1% and the 99%. All of that nonsense is ego made. God didn't create any of that. The new way of thinking, you have to realize that God created us for joy. And if we're not enjoying life, is because we are not doing it the way God wanted for us. So we're not willing with God. That means this game that he instructed in happiness, we've got to begin to stop thinking of ourselves as those who win or lose, as haves and have-nots. You got to get that. You got to excavate. Where did that subconscious belief come from? We've got to pull it up, because if you are not enjoying your life, feeling abundant, and I'm going to show you something on Saturday that might be a little startling, but we got to understand how we keep ourselves stuck. All right, so sentence number 4, everyone who plays must win. Notice the word must. It doesn't say maybe. When Jesus channeled this, there is no confusion in any of his words. There is clarity. There is complete certainty, because he speaks with authority, and everything in this book totally, completely matches. There is no contradiction whatsoever in this book. None in his teachings. Even his teachings when he walked on the planet, even though those were distorted. And then we ended up playing the game, thinking of Jesus in a totally different role than actually the role that he did play. So everyone who plays must win. And in his winning is the gain to everyone insured. This is why happy people don't hurt anybody, because they haven't lost. They don't think of themselves as losers like me. I loved my former husband, and my then new husband couldn't understand that. He was thinking lack, limitation, not enough. And I'm thinking, oh, there's more than enough. So when that marriage ended, it was like, okay, that he left because he thought I didn't love him. So he left because he thought there was lack. But actually, he was being loved by somebody who has so much love. So he missed out on all the love that he could have been receiving, because in his mind, his ego had him thinking in lackful love, and I'm in abundant love. So funny. So funny, but it opened the way, created the space for my beautiful beloved, who operates at the same frequency that I do and knows that we all love each other. I mean, he's got partners that, former partners that he still connects with, that have become friends of mine. Why? Because there's so much freaking love to go around. It's absolutely remarkable. Everybody who plays must win. So the game of fear is gladly laid aside when children come to see the benefits, there's a capital, or it's plural, S, benefits salvation brings. We got to spare ourselves the insanity of the ego. We have to. We've got to let go of all of these things that have us confused about who we really are. And we've got to understand where abundance is. It's not out there. It comes from imagination. And an imagination that is blocked by lack cannot produce anything other than a few little bits and pieces of abundance here and again, because you're deserving of it, but you won't ever be able to have a sustainable example of how well you're cared for, how effortlessly you are taken care of by this creative source that made you powerful, because your eye is trained to look at what's in the checking account, not really what is available to us. This was a big lesson for me. I had to really get that. That's why my marriage to the millionaire had to end, because I had to untether myself from the controls that he used money for, because that was strictly the way the ego operates, rewards and punishment. If I was not totally giving him all the attention he wanted, then he would start taking away. Conditional love. And if I was being nice to my former husband, oh my gosh, or my children, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, then the punishments had to come in. That wasn't love. That was, codependent, conditional love. But you have to let go of what is holding you, weighing you down. But you got to look at the attachments to the life that you have, the stuff that you have, because if you're attached to what is, you cannot experience abundance. Think about it this way. If you're attached to something, you are committed to it. That's it. That's all you can have, because that's what you're holding on to. And the Course in Miracles wants you to know that abundance is yours, all of ours, when we learn to share. Play nice and share. Paragraph 13. You who have played that you are lost to hope, abandoned by your father, as in God the Father, but also your physical fathers. How many of us operate in abandonment from our father or mother? Could be either one. Left alone in terror in a fearful world, made mad by sin and guilt. Be happy now. This world is mad, it's crazy. Sin and guilt, sinning, totally, completely, misrepresentation, missing the mark. We are operating with so much bullshit, BS, belief systems that are so in opposition to the truth of what God is. We have been made insane because we're looking at a world that is nothing but confused, doesn't know who they are, and operate from lack. So there is going to be a process of ascension where we have to look at what we created with gentleness for ourselves and realize that it didn't happen to us. It happened for us. So we could have everything as a mirror reflecting back to us the beliefs in our mind that we need to correct. And I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't fully, maybe it makes sense, but you're not fully using it in your life, it's because you don't really understand your ego. And I cannot stress it enough. The freedom of the insanity comes from seeing the insane part of yourself. And the only insane part of yourself is the egoic aspect of ourselves. All right, that game of insanity is over. Now a quiet time has come in which we put away the toys of guilt and lock our quaint and childish thoughts of sin forever from the pure and holy minds of heaven's children and the Son of God. We, those of us who have enough awareness, should be using this time of craziness outside to be quiet inside. If you are not sitting in quiet, observing the insanity and going, yep, that's what the ego has made. Greed, that's made of the ego. Oh, mandates, control. Yep, that's made of the ego. People's livelihoods being ruined, people's whatever is happening that is the ego could label as horrible. Yes, that's happening with peace in your heart. And if you cannot hear what I'm saying and accept it with joy and gratitude that this is the truth, your ego is active and you don't see it. But I'm going to help you see it right now because I'm going to activate it. Well, I'm not going to activate it. It's going to activate because I'm going to speak truth. And if you can't receive it, your ego doesn't want you to hear this. Everybody who is experiencing discomfort is choosing that role. Let me say it again. Anybody who is dying from the vaccine, dying from COVID, dying from a heart attack, dying in Afghanistan because they got shot by, the Taliban or ISIS or whoever over there shoots people. Anybody who is experiencing any discomfort chose to play that role. Don't let your ego convince you that you know better for them. Because then if you need to be right, as Kathleen said, you're not trusting the perfect role that every single person is playing. Yes, we are all pieces of the puzzle. We are all playing the role that activates somebody's ascension or descent into fear. Because everything right now, we are at the time that this game has to end. The game of insanity has to end. So it is getting activated more and more so that we can all, who have eyes to see and ears to hear, can see what it is that we believe is true. This is not happening out there to them. It is happening for you. It is happening for me. Can I stay grounded in my peace and observe what is happening? We don't need to go save anybody. We need to be the presence of love, the presence of light, of peace, of tolerance, of trust, of gentleness, of defenselessness, so that they can be reminded of the truth that is inside of them. Because it is now, we are at a time where resonance is what we have to work with. You put off your high vibe, and your high vibe, the Holy Spirit will activate in them the high frequency. And if they're down here in total, complete despair, their higher frequency is to begin to be doubtful that you might be telling the truth. Because doubt is a little higher frequency, where they can be in doubt. No, I don't believe what you're saying. Then you can say, well, do you want me to share? And then if you, in your peace, acknowledge their doubt, you literally are modeling for them somebody who is not trying to defend what they believe. Because if you're not in defense, you are not then going to go into attacking them for them being wrong. This is why it's so important to understand the layering that happens in the map of consciousness. If somebody goes to doubt and now it activates fear, oh my God, what if I was wrong about what I believed? Because now they're trusting you because you came peaceful to share something new. They might go into worry. Oh my God, did I make a mistake? Did I do something I shouldn't have done? Did I trust somebody that I should not have trusted? Now in their worry, they might actually be in a place where they're going to be disappointed for the decision that they made. They don't need us telling them, well, yeah, you made a horrible mistake. They need to hear, it's okay. I made mistakes too. I experienced a lot of disappointment when I saw all the things I did to myself. And in that disappointment, they may start craving because they hit desire, the next frequency. They hit desire and go, oh my God, I desire to have some of that peace that you have. And if they get to desire and have that peace that you have, they may go to the next level, which is anger, that they didn't know that sooner. I told my daughter, you know, your dad, who is so totally doesn't want to hear anything that crazy mother is saying, me, doesn't want any videos sent to him anymore. He like, no. I said to my daughter, watch your dad. When he finds out that what he was believing is not true, he is going to go into anger. Don't be happy that you are right. Be grateful that his anger with himself is an opportunity for you to say, Dad, it's okay. I also thought Mom was crazy at one time, but then I started watching what she sent and I came to my own conclusion. So it's okay. I too operated in the same way. We've got to meet people where they are and understand that each emotion moves you up the scale, or let me be more specific, understand which emotion moves you up the scale. So if you've got somebody who is in anger, that's a good thing. That's what's happening around the world. People are marching because they're angry, fed up with what the government is doing to them. That anger is a fire that is getting now expressed, but they recognize that they need to do it, turn that anger into a peaceful march. So the people who are out there marching are not the ones who are down here in apathy, because in apathy, you wouldn't be out there marching. Something got lit up. They doubted the government. Then they realized, oh my gosh, what have I been doing to myself? That turns into an anger, into a form of aggression that moves the energy from being aggressive with ourselves and depressed into being expressed and moving forward. You got to understand that every single emotion has a frequency. So anyways, I'm sharing that because I want you to understand that we have got to put away the childish toys. And what are the childish toys? Everything that supports an egoic beliefs that you are who you're not. Everything that supports the role that you're playing as being your reality so that you can take that costume off and expose the truth of who you are. The masks have to come down. You've got to take them off because you've got to come into relationship with the powerful light that is in you. And as the Course in Miracles says, lesson 77, you need to get clear that you're entitled to miracles. Why? Because you are the holy child of God. Yes, you are. You got to own it. And so is everybody else. Let me just, I don't want to have to rush through this. Let me start reading into paragraph 14 and see how far we can go. So we pause for but a moment more to play our final happy game upon this earth. And then we go to take our rightful place where truth abides and games are meaningless. So so is the story ended. Let this day bring the last chapter closer to the world that everyone may learn the tale he reads of terrifying destiny, defeat of all hopes, his pitiful defense against a vengeance he cannot escape is but his own deluded fantasy. I'll talk about that in a second. God's ministers have come to waken him from the dark dreams this story has evoked in his confused, bewildered memory of this distorted tale. God's son can smile at last on learning that it is not true. We, depending on where we are each other's ministers, teachers of God, as the Course calls us. So we are here to help lend a hand to everybody. And we don't go down there to give them a hand. We stay here. And if they want the assistance, they have to rise through these levels of consciousness. They have to move through their own righteousness and move to the place that they have the courage to go neutral and trust that you are not here to harm them, which is why you have to be defenseless. This is where you are defenseless. You can't be defenseless down here. Don't delude yourself into thinking you will be defenseless when you're down here in blaming. Those are totally different frequencies. Your ego convinces you that when you're blaming, you can be defenseless. Well, you did this wrong. I'm not attacking you. I'm not judging you. Every time you say, I'm not judging you, you're judging. One of the ego tricks. I used to do that a lot. So, but it's part of the journey, you know, once you see, oh my God, all the things that we did, it's just part of the journey. So we will help everybody wherever they are, from wherever we are. And we need to then be honest about where are we? Did we drop down to that lower level? Then you come up here and you forgive yourself, accept that you did it with honesty, get back into harmony with your inner being. And in forgiveness, that's what that is. In forgiveness, you let it go. You're done with that, because when you are operating at the high frequency, you're not attached to being right. So you can cut those, well, those cords don't even get created. If you create it, if you get righteous for a day or two, cut the cord, let it go and rise again. And what this says in here, let this day bring the last chapter closer to the world that everyone may learn the tale he reads of terrifying destiny, defeats of our hopes, this pitiful defensiveness against the vengeance that we think we cannot escape is but his own deluded fantasy. Nobody can hurt or control a child of God that is free inside. You might play the role of one who gets put in jail. You might play the role of one who is forced into a concentration camp. You might play the role of one who has somebody come to their door and wants to force you into taking a jab. You might play that role, but we cannot know what we don't know that is coming. Because when you begin to have peace in your heart, and as the Course says, the script is written before you incarnated, your story of your life, including the moment of your exit, is already written. You have free will to meet the experience with love or fear. That is the correct use of free will. Not to change what is happening, but how are you meeting what is happening? So if you end up in the concentration camp, you can either do it the way of the victim, or you can do it the way of Viktor Frankl. A lot of us love to read those stories of Viktor Frankl, who in concentration camp writes Man's Search for Meaning, and tells us one of the most powerful things ever written for any of us. Nugget, the piece of the puzzle that he gave us was pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So are you going to meet what is with your righteousness? This should be happening to me. Or are you going to accept? Look where acceptance is. Acceptance, you can't be blaming, you can't be fighting, you can't be judging. Acceptance is, oh, I see you have come to take me away. All right, let me just assess what is happening. God, what will you have me do? And you can tell those people come to take you away. Don't fight them. Don't be defensive. Say, you know what? This wasn't in my to-do for the day, so this is taking me a little bit by surprise. I need to spend some time with God, because I need to find out how am I going to respond to this situation. So if you don't mind, you can sit outside, you can come sit on the couch, but before you stick that needle in my arm, or you put me in the paddy wagon, I need time with God. And you have to. This is a sign of one who is awakened. You have got to get quiet, because in the stillness, as the Course in Miracles teaches, God will speak to you. But you know what keeps you from hearing God? Your need to be right about what should be happening to you. Your idea of what should be happening to you. We cannot hear the voice that's always been talking to us. If we got the chatter in the mind, if you're a student of Michael Singer's and you've read The Untethered Soul, the roommates in your head, you've got to turn them off. But you cannot turn them off if you don't understand the fear that you're experiencing, because the fear that you're experiencing is subconsciously driven by an ego mind that doesn't want you to see the lesson. Because in facing the paddy wagon with peace in your heart, you actually passed a big lesson. You passed the lesson that you're free. You are not bound by the things of this world. You are in freedom. Oh, you're an actor playing a role. You don't care what role you're playing. You're playing the role that is the opportunity for you to see that you are free inside. Life, liberty, and happiness is not about living your life that way. And if that upsets you, you don't fully understand. Life is you are the life. You are the eternal life. Nobody can take it from you outside. There's no gun that can shoot you, cancer that can kill you, virus that can, take your life away. Cannot. Eternal life is on the inside. Liberty is freedom from thinking that the role is who you are. That's true liberty. Liberty is inside. You are free. You are not a body, you are free because you are as God created you. Happiness is you are happy. Oh, wow, in this lifetime, I get to play the role of the person who gets in the paddy wagon. I get to play the role of the person who shows how to die from cancer with grace. I get to be the person who in this lifetime says, I have a dream, knowing full well I might get shot. You get to be the person who says, okay, you can nail me and I forgive you because you don't know what you're doing, but I know that I am the way, I am the life, because I and the Father are one. And if we don't have that certainty and peace inside of us, you will go through what you go through because the script is written with fear, with terror, with angst, with these lower vibrations, feeling hopeless, because you will really think that the outside has power over you. But if you come inside and you connect with God inside of you, you now can be used as an instrument to bring more light to the planet. Because when you know that you are eternal, it doesn't matter when we exit because we're going to come back. So it doesn't matter where you exit. What matters is the frequency you exit from, because the frequency you exit from is going to determine your entry point. Like grades in school, when you graduate from 3rd grade, you come into 4th grade. If you graduate from kindergarten, don't be expecting in your next incarnation to come into the PhD level. You will not. You're going to come into the 1st grade level, which means density, more density. We are in the process right now of completing a cycle that is going to give us an opportunity. We're bifurcating. Those who complete at a higher frequency are going to enter into a higher frequency, absolutely. Those who complete in a lower frequency are starting a 26,000-year cycle of little by little, slowly through reincarnations, coming in to do their work to ascend to where we are today. Those of us who in this lifetime have awakened and see this and are doing the work in one lifetime will never have to return to density, which means we enter a 26,000-year cycle. Everybody gets that cycle because that's how this galaxy is designed. As long as we want to spin in this galaxy, a 26,000-year cycle of creating, co-creating from love. Those who are dying in fear are going to enter into a slow process of ascension. They'll get to ascend. Those who die with peace in their heart are entering into a cycle of continuing to ascend, but to co-create with joy, to play the game now. Happy children playing a totally different game. Everybody gets to play the game that they want. Wake up and choose to play with love instead of fear. That is what awakening is about, is to take control of what's coming out of your mind, because it is creating what you are experiencing. If you are going to want to create a life that your children and grandchildren can roam freely without being controlled, you've got to let your mind begin to roam freely without your ego's control. Be the change you want to see in the world. And with that, I am going to stop here. So we completed paragraph 14. Next week, we will start with paragraph 15. And I want to tell you that the conversations today were wonderful, but I really want to encourage that we have those on Tuesday nights, because the more Course in Miracles information I can give you so that you can have more of the truth in your mind, then you can put it into practice and we can have these conversations about how do I do this, or where the coaching and the camaraderie and the sharing allows us to bond as mighty companions. Because something that is really important is that as the world continues to fall apart more, we have got to be with like-minded mighty companions. We've got to help each other steady our frequency, grounded in truth. We need to hear each other's stories of how we ground ourselves in peace. That is equally, if not more important than anything right now for those who are ascending. We've got to be in this conversation of how do we express the love of God? This conversation about how they're ruining each other's lives, and how watch it, observe it, but don't go talking to anybody about what scares you. Talk about, unless it does, and then be honest, talk about what saves you, what spares you from that fear. Oh my goodness, what a fun, amazing group you are, your willingness to be here. and dedicate every week time to be here. I'm so grateful. It just, oh my goodness, you have no idea. When truth moves through me, it just leaves me in such a high vibe, and just it's so delicious as it moves through my body. You know, it's activating higher frequency for my DNA as this truth moves through me. This is why I have to give it to you, because that's how I receive it. Yes, I can do a lot of growth on my own, and we all do, but it is through the sharing it. God wants us to be teachers of God, teachers of truth, because as we teach, we continue to learn. Because there comes a point in the time of a teacher that you know that if you're teaching it, if you talk it but you don't walk it, you know it. And that then you know, oh, that's where I need to do my work. Oh, that's what I need to do to correct here or whatever. But anyways, with that, let's unmute ourselves. Let's everybody say thank you, goodbye, I love you, whatever you want to say. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Laina. Love you.
Yes.
Love you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you so much.
And please share these videos. If this is helpful, please share it. Let others know. Miss Eli, good to see you.
Hey, I was
Hello,
driving the whole
Natalia.
time. I was driving the whole time, but I'm stationary now.
Ah,
Thank you.
so
That
glad
was
you're here.
wonderful.
Thank you very much. Love you. Love you, Laina.
Love you.
Bye, everybody. Love you all. And register for Saturday if you're coming.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Lina, is there a refrigerator for lunch?
Yes.